Hey everyone, Lauren here, and if you checked out my last video you will see that I made these DIY embellishments, and using those word strips that were in the kit I decided that I would use these embellishments to make some cards. It'd be nice to send to people who have been isolating or I haven't seen for a while. So I'm just using some black cardstock, just A4 size, and then I am going to cut it down just to a rough size, just what looked nice to my eye and didn't have the DIY embellishment missed in the hugeness of the page. And then using that as dimensions, I just cut down this pattern paper from the kit that then adds that little black border of the card behind it, and then it also opens so that you can use it just like a normal card. Funny that. So I'm just going to stick down this DIY embellishment right here. It just adds that little pop of cuteness on top of the beautiful flower pattern. And I'm going to use my paint pen just to add this white border on the inside. I was thinking about adding some quotes and some poems and stuff, but I think I'll do that when I know who I'm sending it to, or have a bit of an idea to sit and have a look at some few quotes rather than just quickly looking. I do pull out some little love hearts and I layer them up in the middle there, of just to add a pop of difference in the bottom of it. And here I'm going to use that cluster, that DIY embellishment, but first I'm going to add some mixed media to the background. So I'm pulling out some acrylic paint, just putting it straight on there and using a paintbrush to add it across the page. I just want to make sure it fills up most of the page and it has that little random black border, but also it fits nicely the embellishment so that the colour media is not lost by putting the embellishment on. So giving that a quick dry, and then I'm going to come back with some mixed media, so add some texture and some difference to the background. So just going to pull out that stencil that we got from the mixed media kit this month in June, and first I'm going to use my little permanent marker to outline the stencil, put on those little X's in a few spots. I really love these X's. I think they're the most used part definitely on the items that I've made so far with the kit, but I think it's going to be for a long time. It's really cute. I do like just randomly putting X's on it myself, but I'm not very good at putting them on neatly like this, so it is very helpful to have this stencil. And then I'm just going through the oval shapes, just roughly, not the full size of the oval every time, just the height and not the thickness of them. So that's cute. And then I'm just going to use my paint pen, just add some more mark making just in a few random spots, and it just makes the page really cute and have some background, some goodness to it. So flicking on some white, and then I remember, let's put some Distress Oxide that we got in the kit, and they're going to flick some on, and then also add some bigger drops by using the nozzle a bit like an eyedropper. And just drying that off and smudging it a little so that I can get that grungy random look, and sticking that on. So it makes the embellishment look so much better than if I just stuck it on the black background, or on a white background even. But you can open up the card. It's nice to have them different directions, so opening the card left to right and then opening a card from the bottom up. This one I'm going to use a white background, and I'm going to add this piece on here. I really like how cute that is to the bottom there. It just sits like it's going to be the right orientation. And then I pull out this pattern paper, and it was very hard to cut into because I like it and I think it would make a really lovely background, but I also really like the way the cards come out, so that luckily I did cut into it to make this. So I'm just lining up where I want the pages to the pattern paper to be cut, because I wanted the numbers to sit in a certain position. I didn't want all that space up the top where it's the top of the ledger paper and more blank for headings and whatnot. So I cut it down a bit from the top, and then the bottom is the normal measurement, so that I can get what I wanted out of the pattern paper. Adding the border, cutting it down so that it has a black border, and I did then move it to a black cardstock card base. Well, really it's just A4 paper that I've made into my card base. I know people who are professional card makers buy, or they use certain paper to make card bases, but that's not my case at all. And I'm just going to outline these this page, just so that it has a little bit of randomness and black smudges on it, but also has that defined edges when you put it down. So just add in double-sided tape to the embellishment so that it can stick down. You could always do wet glue if you wanted, and obviously it'd be probably a bit quicker, but that's okay. And that's pretty cute. Just needed something else, so I'm going to have a look at my stickers and then decide that the flamingo was the cute little addition. The colours go really well, and just a bright little embellishment, so it's fun to add. Adding in some hearts, because you can't go wrong with hearts, and this one's not going to work. And then I'm going to move to stamping. So on my pegboard, just in front of me on my desk, up the top shelf is my alphabet stamps, and I decided to pull out this Pink Fresh one that I've never used, and I'm going to stamp Miss You on there. And that's going to be a cute little title, I guess, to the card, but also just a fun little pop of black and pop of interest to build that embellishment, rather than it just having that paper go to waste. Well, not go to waste, but have so much blank space. And then I'm adding some of the Distress Oxides that we got in the mixed media kit to add splatters everywhere. So that's going to be a fun, and I really love it. It's sort of like making a layout, just using your DIY embellishment as your photo and building from that. Now with this fourth DIY embellishment, I'm going to add it onto this pink coloured page, which is the backing of the the flower pattern. So I'm going to make a small little card, and on it goes. Cute. Doesn't need too much then. I do keep on that border strip. That border strip, is it called? Branding strip. And that's just because I really like the colour on there. But that means obviously that there's a barcode on the inside, which I didn't account for. So instead I pull out some cardstock and cut it down to the right measurement and covering it over. And then I'm just going to stick it down, making sure that that middle edge definitely is stuck down, because obviously opening and closing it could have an issue. And I'm just going to write my message on the left hand side rather than on the right hand side. And I'm going to add some extra pop of something to the front here. Add a gold or rose gold paper clip that I pulled from my stash, and then some of these enamel dots and hearts, and then this cute little echidna. It's going to go there, and then I can write my words around him. I could always put a label on the right hand side if I want something else to be written. Now I'm going to have a little play with this little tag piece. Didn't know what I would do, but I put out some of the cardstock to have a little play to see really what else I could do with it. And I'm having a play with the size, so I'm thinking the card could be this size, but I'm not liking the way that it looks, so hesitating. I don't know. Oh, that's what I was going to do. I was going to make a tag that size, but I don't like that. So instead I flick through my Project Life printable cards, and then I like the way these two layer together. So I'm going to cut down edges of this one. Just cut one small side and one long side. That way that just gives enough for a border. And I'm liking the way those colours pop off each other. So I'm going to commit to that. Sometimes it's really good, especially when you're talking about embellishments or making things like this. It's good to just commit to things as soon as you see that it's going to be okay, rather than umming and ahhing for a long time. So I think it needs a bit more in terms of layering. So I'm looking at my DIY, well, not my DIY, but the embellishments that we got in the kit that are sitting in my really useful box next to me. I'm going to use this border piece. Just going to stick it down. I didn't want to muck around with double-sided tape, so I used my wet glue. Just a little bit of it. That's going to go there. And then I'm going to stick down this tag embellishment because I like how it's layering. And then I'm trying to work out what could go on the right there. It needed some words or something of interest, so I'm going to cut out this little piece here. You could definitely use your 1-inch circle punch if you've got one, which I do have, but I was too lazy to move my bin and then open the bottom Alex drawer. So instead I just cut it out and have a bit of a white border. And then I really like how cute this little bear is going to sit there. So they're going to be the two pieces that fill up this right side of this little cluster. So at the moment it's more like a Project Life card because it's sitting on that 3x4 blue piece in the background. And that's where I'm thinking, okay, well, it can be a Project Life card instead. And so I use my Sharpie, my permanent marker, to add this border on the blue. And then add a dotted line on the orange as a border. Just at the top and at the bottom because the frame covers the rest of the sides, so I don't need to worry about that. But then I decide it's going to have these little enamel dots, obviously, and hearts. But then I decide that I actually am going to make it into a card. So instead I folded a white piece of cardstock in half, and then I measure the width so that it's just a little bit bigger, and then the length just a little bit bigger than the Project Life card, so that it is going to be one that opens top to bottom, but it's also tiny. It's very cute. It's like my scrapbooking. I like to do it at all different sizes, and literally none of these cards are the same size. So that is hilarious. They're not even in the same direction. 2 are up and down, and 3 are sideways when you're opening left to right. But anyway, here's the cards, and hopefully that's inspired you to get creating. I'm sure there's lots of people out there who are thinking Happy Mail might be something that brightens up their day while they're stuck at home, or mostly stuck at home. But anyway, stay safe and enjoy creating. Bye.